Hey guys, we've got a DPP game from the end of SPL, week 1 of SPL 7. We've got Malekith against Marshall, and I suppose it was only a matter of time before HP Graz Zapdos made a comeback. I still don't like it, but it's going to be a thing since everyone started coming back to Swampert, which fell out of favor after the metagame ended, so to speak. Over 5.5 years ago, or 5.5 years ago. Anyway, off topic. So we see it not quite kill, and I think it's best on specs. So that is clearly not specs, unless it's like max speed F per, which is not. And then a U-turns trying to catch a switch, like the Gliscor, possibly, that now wall Zapdos, should it not carry Toxic. We're going to Heat Wave burn. And Marshall gets to roar and see a lefty's Declaw Dragonite. And Skarm comes in and double the T-Tar on the Zapdos rather than go for spikes, although he is scouting for the possibility of Magnezone, which is very, very possible with a bulky DD Dragonite, which we're going to assume that is. And let's see, what else? Marshall is most known for using offense, but he switches it up to semi-stall quite a bit nowadays. And I mean, I would rather see him with offense since he's really dangerous with it, and he likes to use unconventional dudes. But yeah, he's still very dangerous with this kind of team. So we're going to see a Rotom or a Gengar and maybe a Magnezone and like a Flygon or something. That's a French team that's been going around for close to a year now. And this week is over. Or no, it's not over. I'm sorry. This is a big game. It's, one sec, let me check. But I believe it's 5-6. In favor of the Raiders, right? And, okay, so it is, he takes a risk there, roosting, assuming it's not Scarftar. I suppose he was afraid of Pursuit. That's another thing. Ace Matador used to do that quite a bit. Roost with Zapdos on pursuing Scarftars. But that is banded, and that's a pretty bulky Zapdos. And suddenly I have PTSD flashbacks to when my Zapdos roosted on Jirachi's Scarfed. Well, I tricked the Scarf T-Tar, and it crit me with Stone Edge from full, and I had a lot of physical defense, and I was mad. Anyway, so, it's not banded. It's just, that makes more sense, it being an offensive Zapdos and just a non-CB Tar. So Mix Pasho Tar is another good way for Swampert to function on these teams. I mean, it helps with other semi-stalls because it busts up Fortress, or not really Fortress because that's kind of rare, but Skarmory while still pursuing Rotom, and Pasho lets it check something dangerous like Kingdra, although Scarf does that as well, but it lets you, mess with Starmie more easily since you can switch between cards to Pursuit, and Hydro does nothing. And it can even help you out in a pinch against Agility and Empoleon. So Swampert's finally in, and Malekith just decided, I'll chip it. So something like this Scarf Heatran, or assumed Scarf Heatran, likes the chip, although it's not really a lot, and I'm giving Marshall a pretty decent edge right now. Although if this isn't Scarf Tran, which I really like non-Stealth Rock, just all-out attacking Heatran. It can do so many cool things that are eschewed by most people who just go with Scarf or Stealth Rock. Not that it's not amazing at those things, just that I really like the sets that don't do that. I also like Spadef, but that's another discussion. Anyway, spikes go down as Marshall very nicely checked for Magnezone. People used to actually check for Magnezone with their Skarmories, like whether it's Whirlwind or a double switch. I personally like the Whirlwind way because it also lets you scout more of their team and rack up damage. But double switching is great too. And he also caught the Zapdos that he knew had been revealed. Although I think I would have tried to save some damage on T-Tar and rather just forced more Stealth Rock damage on the Zapdos before whirlwinding it out. See, there's Flygon, and there's Swampert, and so with Swampert down, I guess he takes away the Swampert sack into Scarf Tran, and he'll save it for later, although he's not going to be able to switch around forever. And Malekith's using a pretty standard-looking... Well, they're both using pretty standard-looking teams. Now we'll see what set this Flygon is. I think if it's Scarf Tran, this should definitely be a Mixgon. Maybe Choice Band. If it's Choice Band, we see a U-turn kill here. And if we see a Mix Set, then we just see an Earthquake. Okay, so that could still be Choice Band, and it could also be Expert Belt. If I'm Marshall, depending on who else I have, then... If I have something else to threaten, well, I might have... Gengar is a better bet, so I did get the Gengar right. Nice. Thing is, Life Orb Gengar, if it's Expert Belt Flygon, then it can drop a Draco. I didn't mean to do the thing, I'm sorry, but I did. It can use Draco on it and not die to Shadow Ball. Although with Naive, Life Orb Gengar is fucking strong. I think it's a roll. But likelihood is it's Choice Band Flygon. And the last could be, you know, anything from Starmie to Jirachi to Magnezone still, even though I think it's less likely. Well, maybe it was better to go to the Zapdos that probably wasn't going to do much. Well, actually, no, I think without a Swampert in the way, then he could have done a little more. And so, yeah, that was a fine move going to it, even if he did have Magnezone. So, their sub is that, yeah, it's a Expert Belt. I did think that slightly, but yeah, physical Expert Belt Flygon is a good set. It's rarely ever used. I think Ace Matador was one of the few guys who ever really used it, and he used it consistently. But, so, what happens is, Gengar does not kill, it's also Leftovers Gengar. I believe it's Hypnosis on this team, if he is running the Magnezone CB last. Although, with the non-Scarf Tar, then it could be a Scarf Gon, which is, you know, just as good. So, if he even has Magnezone, and Hypnosis Gar is really threatening. Heist also had a team with this sort of Gengar. Actually, no, I don't think he had Gengar in his. I'm thinking of the one he had that had Scarf Gon, but also had Venusaur. So, it was either Gengar or Magnezone alongside of Venusaur and Flygon. But, so if he's got, because this clearly has Fire Blast in his Expert Belt, so not only is it hitting everything hard, I mean, it doesn't threaten Okos, but you don't need to threaten Okos to be dangerous. And I know that sounds like a shot at newer gen players, but that really doesn't apply to them usually. We can say it applies to Black and White because I don't like that gen. But Skarmory doesn't need to be O-code to be threatened by Expert Ball Fire Blast. Although, if it is Max Spadef, then it can roost relatively well. Since, yep, it's at a good enough HP to where it can do that. Oh, whoops, I switched sides. Let's try this one for a while. Oh, Will-O-Wisp. That's a good call, too. He is not running. Ooh, that is a lot of bulk. I personally like plus attack on my Flygons, except for the Draco Meteor Mixgons. Because those don't have Life Orb to help them out, and Draco Meteor does not need plus special attack to do its job. And there's a Zapdos of Marshall, so the likelihood of a Starmie Last is pretty likely now. And there's the Heatran switching in on the assumed Shadow Ball, and it was also going to cover a possible switch to Skarmory. So that's really good on Malekith's end, but Marshall's no slouch either. Now a bulky Zapdos can just roost on this, and if Heatran goes boom, then, you know, there goes the, whatchamacallit, Skarm Killer, or a Skarm Killer. And with Swampert and Bulky Knight, he wants all the coverage he can get. And he goes to Heatran. Very nice. Heatran is a good last too. Scarf giving his team some speed and cleaning up ability. Both teams are nice. I like Marshall's a lot. I mean, it's been done before, but, you know, I can't exactly recall this specific combination of 6, and it does very, very well. It might get outlasted by a Clefable's team if he's not careful with Tyranitar and times his Heatran well. But you know, shuffling with Skarm and wasting its PP and stuff, he can beat, you know, pretty much anything. So maybe nope, nothing is coming to mind. But yeah, Malekith is, well, you know what he does lose to is CB Gyarados, because you know, you can get by around most water pokes without having a strict water resist. But CB Gyarados just kind of takes that and pounds your face in. So, anyway, and plus, it's the thing that, I mean, they help with that and, like, Spexkinder spamming Hydro. And there's Malekith's Swampert taking the Flash-fired Fire Blast. That did a lot. Okay, the burn didn't matter, because that just got annihilated with the spikes alongside it. So, nice move from Marshall, forcing out Malekith Scarftran and just devastating whatever came in. I think Swampert is kind of useless in this matchup. I mean, it makes him weaker to Zapdos now. But with the Stealth Rock and Force to Roost, and although it kills Dragonite, it kills Flygon, and roosts on Flygon, and Heatran can't switch in forever. But so I think it might have been wiser to throw away the rather useless Flygon. Or, you know, even let it take a hit and then go back to your own Heatran to pepper Marshall's team with Fire Blast. And Marshall's team, should Heatran get a Flash Fire Boost, in fact, I think Malekith should do that right here. It's a shame he wasted Swampert, but no reason to just let it die. He can get a Flash Fire Boost of his own and just kill everything. T-Tar at 50 after Rocks, that's getting 2 KO with a Flash Fire Fire Blast. Scarm, Gengar, Zapdos, we're going to see a Scarfstran battle, although I think Marshall definitely has the edge, because not only is Malekith's Heatran weaker already, there's spikes up as well. But, oh, you see a switch to Skarmory. And we see Ice Beam, looking for a freeze, perhaps. But that was a good move on Marshall's end, because it doesn't give up a KO necessarily to Heatran, because it doesn't give him the Flash Fire boost, and it leaves his Heatran open to absorbing it. So very nice move on Marshall's end there. I mean, like, how great is that? You know, switching to Skarm with the possibility of a double to Heatran is actually a good move. That's crazy. He just decides to stack his spikes to really cut down on Heatran, and here's the Fire Blast Flygon. And see, Expert Belt is just... because Expert Belt Tar doesn't really get roost stalled, but it, like, has trouble sometimes. And Careful Skarmory does incredible things. So, Flygon will summarily struggle a bit. Of course, you can always just go to Zapdos or something, which I doubt would be killed by, you know, the weak neutral Fire Blast, plus a Burn Dragon Claw. Heatran's a good one too, although I don't think he wants to risk that. Oh, U-turn. Nice move on Malekith's end. I mean, he can't really afford to switch a lot, but at the same time, it keeps up momentum, sort of. And what Marshall's got to keep be wary of is the last poke Dragonite. So, going to his... and maybe letting his team die is part of his strategy, because if the Dragonite does have Earthquake, which I think it does, and it should, in my opinion, then... because, well, Fire Punch is not helping you beat Skarmory, and if you're only going to beat it if it's last Mon, Bronzong is going to destroy you regardless, and you want to hit Jirachi and Metagross a lot harder. So we see Gengar, Fire Blast miss, and that's a shame, but I don't think Gengar's going to be a real deciding factor in this. But that was a nice move on Malekith's end, scaring Marshall out and picking up a KO alongside the way. And now he just gets to switch back to Heatran and he gets another sacrifice. I think Malekith should have anticipated that, because that was kind of obvious. But, like, that's a really hard move to make, you know? Plus, he doesn't really have a lot of great Heatran switchings in the first place. So it would just be picking his sack regardless. So it's probably going to be Swampert at this point. Flygon can actually do something, but props to Malekith on bringing that Flygon set. It's a great one. And it's something I've never really been able to bring myself, because I'm really paranoid of bulky Gliscor, which no one seems to bring anymore. And I wonder how long it'll take. I don't think it's going to pop up again anytime soon. Just it was never really a like staple among the newer generation. You know, it's amazing, but just there goes Swampert. Yep, down to spikes, but Heatran will stay locked into a move, and he chooses Dragon Pulse, and that's a great one. I usually don't see Dragon Pulse on Scarftran. It's a good one for people who... oh, wow! That is a threat. And I bet Marshall is very thankful he did not try to roost on that Flygon. Pashotar is... if he has Surf and a lot of bulk, he can live 1. Although, depending on whether he's got Earthquake or Superpower, Empoleon's going to live it, and it might even knock it in Torrent. So, that's a big, big threat. Skarm can phase it out and rid it of the boost. But first... oh, no, what's he going to Skarm? Actually, no, that's a good move. It's a very good move on Marshall's end. And if it's Life Orb, then Hydro Pump will kill and the game is over. But no, he's Surf. He's not Life Orb. That did a ton, though. That is not a fully split F Skarm. And that is... whew, that is dangerous. I guess he liked physical defense, but Careful Skarm is huge. So he's Pataya on Empoleon. Life Orb, Hydro Pump, or even Life Orb Surf, considering the thing. Life Orb Surf, considering how much special defense or non-special defense Marshall has on that Skarm, would have kind of won the game. So, I mean, you can't switch around that, because it just uses Water Move against everything. Well, not Zapdos, so you get 1 turn of him using Ice Beam as you do and then he spams Water Move. Of course, if it had Hydro, then you could play for a miss. Not ideal, but... so, whirling out Emp, as Careful Skarm would have even died to Life Orb Hydro, and maybe Life Orb Surf. It was probably a high roll to kill Life Orb Surf. I just think Triple Scarf is amazing. And max that shit out, guys. Anyway, so what he has to do now is win with Zapdos, or Heatran, or Gengar. Well, Zapdos has got to come in now. He's got to win with that before the Empoleon sets up again. He can't let it set up again, because it's not Life Orb. He can't stall it out. I don't know why Gengar's there. Maybe it's Taunt. Taunt would mean that he can't taunt this. Okay, he wants to burn it so Zapdos can roost. Now, as for Scarf Tran, that's got one switch in left. Of course, if it is Heal Bell Knight, then that could be game. As for Dragon Pulse thing, Heatran is good for like Kingdra, and that's about it. Fly it, because everything else is hit harder by HPS. And HPS also has targets such as Gliscor. So, but Dragon Pulse is a fine move. It's just not seen very often. It's seen more commonly on specs. There's Will-O-Wisp. Do we see DD? Now we're going to see how fast this is. Oh, the Dragonite is faster. Bulky DD Knight does run speed, but if it's Heal Bell, then I would be really shocked if it outran Scarf Tran, but he cannot use anything other than a Fire move or Earth Power. Otherwise, and he can't use Earth Power. At least Fire Blast pounds D-Knight, but with Special Defense Investment doesn't do that much. He can't let Empoleon set up. And there's also the threat of Heatran. So, either way, this is going to be a tight finish. So, I think he burned it, and that must mean Marshall Zapdos also doesn't have HPS. Let's switch sides again, because I like Dragonite's front sprite. Oh, we see the burn again. So, it's just that, I mean, if he's sub-toxic, then, you know, I understand, but HPI Zapdos would just clean. There's T-Tar, there's a good one, although with Earthquake, there's a good shot it dies. At least it doesn't let Empoleon set up, and that's a big thing. Although, T-Tar taking this hit means that, well, although he does have Zapdos for Earth Power and Heatran for Fire Blast, and the Tran only gets one more switch in, it is still annoying how it... I don't think it'll make too much of a difference against the Scarf Tran Parade. The thing is that Flygon can revenge it after, and it can even U-turn, although I don't think it would. Although it might U-turn just to prevent Zapdos from roosting, and that's a thing. So if, let's say, this Tyranitar kills this Dragonite, assuming it doesn't have Earthquake, which might take it out, because these set towards mixed Tars tend to run minus defense, because they don't really need that stat. And as we know, Dragonite has a fucking fuckload of fucking attack. I channeled my inner Deborah Morgan there, but let's say T-Tar kills this Dragonite, because Dragonite is not switching out to anything. And an unboosted Surf against Pashotar, which we're going to assume it is, as he doesn't really need any other, and Expert Bell is just sort of a waste here. I mean, it can be used viably, but plus, I mean, he might even outspeed Empoleon, so Empoleon's not being switched in here. Flygon possibly, but it's burned, so its Earthquake is probably not going to, you know, be killing anything. So, and then Dragonite is utterly useless afterwards. So we're going to say that Dragonite's staying in here. Malekith's thinking about what happens after Dragonite dies to T-Tar. He might even roost a little and see if he can actually force one of Marshall's other pokes. I don't think he really can, but T-Tar already used a Stone Edge on Zapdos. There goes the timer, 20 seconds, roost, that's the right move. Because no matter what, he's going for Crunch, nicely done there. And now he Stone Edges. Well, he can Crunch one more time if he feels, because I don't think Crunch will not kill if with the burn, and although it might kill twice if it's used twice. There's Earthquake. It barely lives. There's Stone Edge. I was going to say if Dragon Claw or Earthquake, he did have Earthquake, very nice, didn't kill, then whatchamacallit, then it would definitely kill the second time. After the second hit, although that double down is probably something Marshall wanted to avoid. So, Stone Edge is good. So, we're going to see how he's going to approach finishing the Tyranitar off. If he goes Heatran, he has to pick one move. Nope, Flygon, that's the right move. Now, whether to U-turn or Dragon Claw, that's the thing, because no way Heatran switching in here. If you switch Heatran into Dragon Claw, I would just scream. But that's not happening, especially because Tar's fucking useless. So, I don't even know why I entertained that thought. I don't even know why that thought came to me. I thought it was better than that. Zapdos, that's another good move. As Dragon Claw 1 2 ago, he did U-turn, and U-turning was good there if he switched to Zapdos, conserving the Tar for the sack. But Heatran's in now. and Heatran, well, because Empoleon can't come in, Heatran has to come in. There's Heatran. So now he sacrifices Tyranitar, and then goes to Heatran and tries to finish the game with Scarf Fire Blast. He's going to have to hit 2. It's not going to kill Flygon. I think Marshall is going to take this. Here's what happens. Marshall sacks T-Tar, and if he goes to the thing, and Malekith has to Fire Blast, because if he Earth Powers, then, oh, he exploded, and he died! Double down. That's a thought. That's a good thought. So, the Zapdos, because if you Fire Blast T-Tar, then or Earth Power the T-Tar, then Zapdos roosts, and that's 100% game over. So Fire Blasting there didn't work. If you Fire Blast Scarftran, then something dies, and that's just messy. What could happen would be that he would not let it get a Flash Fire Boost, and then try to survive with Empoleon and sweep with Agility. That's a thought. But Explosion also is interesting, because it takes out Zapdos. T-Tar is dead regardless. But, actually, you know what? I think he should have Fire Blasted, because now Zapdos just wins the game. Unless he is... Actually, no, Zapdos could die. If it's Dragon Claw, then, and it's faster, and it could not have HP Ice, so there's Heatran, there's Flygon. Well, Heatran can explode to win the game, because if he goes Empoleon, then we would have that scenario I was just talking about, that Dragon Claw would finish off the low health Zapdos. I mean, it probably has some physical defense on a bulky team like this. I mean, it doesn't have HPI, so probably Heat Wave Roar shenanigans are possible. But I mean, still, that is 21%. I think even Flygon might be able to muster that with Dragon Claw. I mean, Outrage definitely. Dragon Claw, I'm not sure. But there's Empoleon checking for Explode. Does he go for Fire Blast? He does, and Empoleon would have died. So Malekith did make the right move. And now he has to... Well, now Marshall just wins, because he switches out to Zapdos and Dragon Pulse finishes the game. So I guess that was sort of a guessing game. Either Fire Blast the Empoleon... You know what? Actually, I think Malekith should have Earthquake. Because if Heatran Dragon Pulses... Well, I think, perhaps, what happened... what could have happened there? Does he Dragon Claw here to just go for it? No. Well, we'll see if it kills. But what happened was maybe he feared... I mean, no, Fire Blast plus Burn would not have killed. So it all comes... Oh, it is faster, but it doesn't kill. And Fire Blast could have killed. So, wow, this was... that was a great game. I mean, there were so many things to consider there. Fuck, that was close. And the Raiders are going to take the week, 7-5, denying the Bigs the tie. I didn't even get into any of that. God, guys, I just love DPP so much. So many great things. I think there were things that could have been done better on both ends, but both players played great. Both players had great teams, and I think the Empoleon was a little random, you know. And both teams had their flaws, of course. But I mean, this was just so much to explain. And if I tried to explain every single possibility that went into those last turns, I'd be here for another hour. But that was just fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed that half as much as I did. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.